Hello, welcome. Michelle here with the Joy of Cooking with Michelle. Happy International Women's Day. We are going to celebrate today with these fantastic, we are making these today. They are kiwi, chocolate, coconut, energy bites. And they're going to be so tasty. Just a little bit of chocolate to make us all really happy. Very simple. We need coconut, kiwis, and semi-sweet chocolate. And we're going to be using a combination of the stovetop and the microwave, which we have very convenient right here. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. And it is truly a celebration today. To get started, what we have to do is we have to take the coconut, and it's shredded coconut. They recommend unsweetened shredded coconut. I wouldn't get the long shredded coconut. I would get something finer, because what we're going to be doing is once we toast this, we're going to be sprinkling it on the kiwis, the chocolate dipped kiwis. So it's kind of like a chocolate fondue, only fast and easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you first of all that I have 2 kiwis that I'm going to cut up. So for each kiwi you need approximately 1 teaspoon of coconut and 1 ounce of, I use chocolate chips. It just says 1 ounce of bittersweet chocolate. I would recommend using a very small bowl. I have this really miniature bowl, which I thought would be fantastic, because what we're going to do is we are going to actually dip the kiwis in here. So we'll tilt the bowl and dip them. So I thought smaller would be better. That's what I went with. Okay, so for starters, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tip the coconut in a non-stick, I happen to have a small non-stick frying pan. And within 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to see the coconut will brown really quickly. Wow, really quickly. So keep an eye on it. Don't walk away. Keep an eye on it 100% of the time, because you want it nicely browned. You don't want it burnt. It's very similar to if you're using almonds, like slithered almonds. It browns really quickly. And it really continues to cook too, even when you take it off. Look at that. I wouldn't even say that took a minute, but what I did was I had the pan, my non-stick little frying pan, on the burner heating up, so the frying pan was really warm. And again, non-stick frying pan, you just put it straight up in there. If you don't have non-stick, you can just use a stainless steel frying pan, and you don't have to add anything to the bottom because the coconut will not stick. Nicely browned, see that? Perfect. I find when you toast things like coconut and almonds, it really brings the flavor out in it. It's lovely. The chocolate chips. I like the chocolate chips because they're cut up into smaller pieces already. What we do is we put them in the microwave for about 45 seconds to start with on medium heat, and then we stir them. I put these in for that period of time to start with, and they just started to melt. After that, you put them in the microwave for about 20-second intervals. So it's going to be a little noisy, I apologize. Just helps to melt the chocolate, fast and easy. In the meantime, we take our kiwis in the meantime. I find these kiwis are pretty small. The small kiwis you can cut in 4. The others you probably can cut in 5. It says 1/4 of an inch. You want to be able to hold on to it. You don't want them to break apart. Aha. So I'm just going to, these are very small. So I'm going to cut them in 4 to start with. I thought, since I'm doing this, I'm going to do it with 2 kiwis because I want to make it really worthwhile. So you can see, that's about the size I cut them in. Probably slightly bigger than 1/4 of an inch. I don't know if that's very good advice, 1/4 of an inch. I would say use your discretion. Aha, this is getting there. Technically, you shouldn't have to add anything to the chocolate. You should just be able to melt the chocolate just as is. This is really close to being ready. I would say take it out and stir it gently. Awesome. Now we know some of the best kiwis in the world are from New Zealand. I have to say, in the wintertime this winter, I have experienced kiwis from Greece that were amazing. And sometimes you can get good kiwis from Italy also, but I'd say the Greece ones are better. It's always nice to know where your produce is coming from. Now, this is interesting because I did this for 45 seconds and then I did it just for another 25 seconds. And I would say it's liquidy enough. I would say it's perfect. Tip number 2, when you're finished with the stove, turn it off immediately. All right. The other thing they do recommend is that you take one of your plates, just a small side plate, and wrap it in foil. Woo, it's very catching the light, reflective. So wrap it in foil because what you're going to do is once we dip them, then we are going to put them in the fridge for about half an hour until the chocolate firms up. Now, you want to do this relatively quickly while your chocolate is melted. Oh, this looks amazing. Now what we want to do is dip the kiwi in the chocolate like this, and we're going to put them on the plate. It's interesting because the chocolate kind of wants to run off the kiwi a little bit. I sort of thought that it would stick to the kiwi. Oh, there it's sticking a little bit. The kiwi's room temperature and the chocolate's a little warm. Just going to put them around the outside of the plate. So it says to tilt it and dip it. I hope you can see that. It says to tilt it and dip it. So that's what I'm doing, see? Just dipping it in the chocolate. And then I'm just going to put them on the outside so you can see this. All the way around the outside of the plate. So you see? You just tilt the small bowl. I would recommend using a really small bowl. And if you're going to do this, why wouldn't you do 8? You could do 1 kiwi, but I would say use 2 kiwis and make it worthwhile because you're going to have all this chocolate left over. Yum! Sometimes what you just need is a little bit of chocolate. And chocolate's amazing because it increases the serotonin in our brain and gives us that feel-good feeling. And the nice thing about this is that we have chocolate but it's not a huge amount. So we won't get the feeling like we've overdone it. And just because you have 8 slices doesn't mean you have to eat all 8 at once. There we go. So now we have our plate, you can see. And then what we do is we just take the coconut and we sprinkle it on the chocolate of each of them. The toasted coconut. Oh, that's delish. I can't wait to try this. I was thinking that a teaspoon would just be too little, but I think it's just perfect. And don't worry, because if you have too much, a certain amount will stick to the chocolate and a certain amount will just fall off. There we go. Doesn't that look delicious? How easy is that? Didn't even take us less than 10 minutes and we're done. How wonderful. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in the fridge for half an hour, and boom, I'm going to have a nice, delicious treat after I get the kitchen cleaned up. So I know we haven't done very many desserts, and I thought it would be fun to do something like this for a change. Sometimes I get on a roll on a theme, like we went through the whole tofu theme already, and so now dessert. I have a great idea already for next week. I can't wait to share it with you. If you have had any questions or comments, please put your comments and questions underneath below in the comment section, and I'll make sure to get back to you. If you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see in the future, I'd love to try new recipes and I love to share them with our community. We've got a great following. Remember, March is Nutrition Month, so keep that in mind when you're making your food choices. And don't forget, it's not about deprivation. So once a week, what we have to do is treat ourselves, and I am going to treat myself to these yummy kiwi coconut chocolate energy bites. The kiwis, by the way, are really high in vitamin C, and they're a great fruit, and I would say this is exactly what a lot of us need. And thank you so much for joining me. It's such a pleasure to be able to cook from my kitchen and share good nutrition information with you for your health. All of these recipes are going to be available at the Joy of Good Nutrition. So if you missed one, don't worry, you can always go back. And slowly I'm trying to move a lot of these recipes and food demos over onto my Ace Nutrition YouTube channel. So check that out if you have a chance. And make sure you've subscribed to the newsletter, because I do a monthly newsletter with good tips in it, good nutrition tips, and to help you keep you inspired and healthy. Okay, I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday, same time, same channel. Thank you so much. Bye.